So the next couple of questions came from Sega Rock, where he said, what do I do for a living? So pretty much just explain that there. And he said, what are your daily hobbies and what are your favorite bands? Also, another interesting question. So my daily hobbies would definitely be fitness. Love getting up straight in the morning and heading straight down to the gym before the day even starts. It's the first thing I like to do. It's great because there's not many cars on the road, so it's often a lot quicker to get there. And sometimes there's not many people in the gym. Like this morning, there was 2 people, whole place. You know, normally there's a lot more people. There was no music playing. It was nice and quiet. Got to listen to whatever I want. All the machines were free. It was fantastic. So that's definitely one of my main hobbies. And starting really to get into photography, sort of moving away. I still love video games, love all my Nintendo consoles and all of that stuff, but starting to, sort of not put less time into that, more time into photography. I'd love to do more sort of photography and more video stuff later on. So the last question came from Sega Rock as well, and it was what are my favorite bands? So I actually did a video on this about a year ago. There's a link in the description below to that when I went in a lot greater detail, but favorite bands, they always sort of changed for me, and I didn't know if Sega Rock, if you meant sort of favorite artists of all time or favorite currently. At the moment, listening to quite a lot of fusion and guys like Steve Lukather and Pat Metheny and Tom Quayle and those sorts of dudes, but also going back and listening to sort of some more artists that I studied back in uni a few years ago and going into Chick Corea, and just a lot of sort of interesting sounds and very, very varied rhythms, just to keep, sort of my mind thinking about different options and not just getting pigeonholed sometimes into, different genres of music. Still listening to, I guess, heavier rock bands like Alter Bridge, that sort of stuff. Don't really like their new album, the number 3. I thought that was really cool. And still listening to my favorite guitarist, Joe Satriani. I always listen to his stuff, always think it's great. But yeah, for more information on that, there is that link below. The next question came from Bob Barker. He said, this is more of a request, but I'd like to see more video on techniques to develop tone. I'm actually a bluegrass player, and in fact, I play mandolin mostly these days. So I'm mostly interested in universal principles, which of many of your videos offer. Thanks again for your vids. So that's a great question, Bob, and really to me, my opinion of tone is going to be completely different to someone else's. My opinion of tone is that it comes down to everything. It comes down to everything from what strings to picks, to how you're feeling that particular day, to what sort of phrasing, rhythms, what sort of the style or emotion of the song that you're playing through, what amps, how hard you hold the strings down, your technique in your right hand, the guitar you're using, obviously, like absolutely everything. But there is something where it doesn't matter what instrument or what amp, someone is playing through, you can just instantly tell it's them because that's a particular voice. And I really just think that that's just coming down to just how much you love playing and how much you have played, how much, sort of hard work you've put into playing the instrument. I think all of that sort of encompasses great tone, and I don't think there's necessarily, 1 or 2 different things to developing good tone. I think there's sort of some different things that maybe would help clear up and get maybe some tone a little bit less muddy for some people, so we can definitely look into that, but that's sort of my ideal on tone. So the next question comes from Adam X, and he said, when did you started to learn to play guitar? Maybe about 8-9 years ago. I sort of started playing maybe about 10 years ago, but really in the first sort of year and a half was very slow to sort of progress, and was just having lessons every sort of fortnight. I actually went to a music school when I did high school, but didn't actually get into music until I left, so that was a bit of a shame, but that's just what happened. So probably I'd say, probably about, maybe even 7 years ago when I really started taking it seriously, but all up probably about 8 years ago. Next question was again from Adam X, where he said, do I play other instruments? From where do I buy all my gear? And what do I want to do in the future? Okay, so great question. So I play very, very little bit of piano. Okay, that's not to say I'm a piano player at all. I could basically comp myself if I was doing a little bit of singing. I can use the instrument to write, but that's very much it. And I really like to sing. I really, really like to sing. That's not to say I'm a great singer, but I like to do it. So maybe I'll do some more of that in the future because I really like to do it. So it sort of makes sense that I'm going to express myself that way. He also asked, where do I buy my instruments from? It depends. Sort of all my instruments, I guess, come from different places. I've got a few of the Chapman guitars that you've seen before, like the Telecasters and the ML2 and my modded ML1. They all came from Andertons in the UK, but it's cool now that there's a dealer that's only about 10 minutes drive from me, which is awesome. I got this the Rosewood guitar. That was custom built over a few suburbs away. It took a long time to find what luthier I wanted, purely because there's so many great ones in my hometown, which is awesome. the 1970s Ibanez Stratocaster, heavily modded. This came from a music swap shop in Carlton that I got about 4 years ago. So I get my instruments from a lot of different places. The amp behind me was I love the color of white. They don't make white amps, but I really just wanted something really different, something that stands out. That was custom made for me over in Sydney. So again, Australia, I've got another custom red wine amp that I want to show you guys that I have built to my specifications. That was made up in Sydney. Some great amp makers in Melbourne. I just found these guys and I resonated with them really well, and they were really friendly up in Sydney. So 2 different builders built my different amps there. And the last question came from Adam X, and it was, what do I want to do in the future? Okay, and really, it's a lot of this. You guys know how many videos I have coming out every week and how this channel's just really starting to take off now, which is awesome. So I can't say too much because I don't want to, it's not that I want to jinx anything, but I more so don't want to give away the surprise of stuff that I've got going on and planned out for the rest of the year. This year was really a big part of it, was to really try and work as much as I can, save up and head over to the States for my first holiday to see my brother and who lives over there, and to do a bit of traveling. Finally meet Ryan. That's going to be so much fun. But so that was a big part of this year, but now it's really getting into the work side of things as soon as I get back in August, and big plans. But yeah, I guess as a whole, what I'd say is a lot more band stuff, but definitely music and only music as a career. That's what I want to do in the future. But it's exciting, and in the next year, you guys will see some huge changes, and it's going to be a lot of fun, but I don't want to spoil the surprise, so you'll have to wait and see. Next question comes from Guitarific HP. Do you have a band? Plans of making an album in the future? So great question. This is something that really I've held off for a little while at the moment, purely so I can just work as much as I can to get my butt overseas and to start traveling, and really to start finishing up this grade 1. Because grade 1 is great because it goes through all the beginning things, but I know so many of you guys are itching to play such harder stuff, and that's the stuff that I really want to get into and really want to show you, but we have to start at the very beginning. There's so many YouTube channels I've felt out there that sort of have awesome stuff, but it's sort of here, there, and a bit everywhere. I just wanted to go back. My channel started off that way too, so I wanted to go very back, start at the very beginning, and just teach everything I think you should know if you're going to be a fully fledged musician and read sheet music and everything like that. Not that that is to say that you have to do that, but that's just something that I like doing, so I thought maybe people would want to do that as well. But so we're getting into grade 2, and so that's going to be so much fun and really start ramping things up. But obviously I've gotten sidetracked there, and as you can see by the length of this video, I like talking, so it's we're going to get back on track. So, but in terms of me and bands, I love, like I was saying before, I love so many different genres of music and so many different artists that I can't see myself being one particular artist or in one particular band. So what that means is that there's going to be so much music coming out. So as soon as I get back in August, that's the #1 priority. That's the #1 thing that I'm going to do, is start writing and recording music as soon as possible. So there'll be EPs, there'll be the album with that band that I was talking about before that I'll reveal again a little bit more in August. There's probably going to be some songs of me singing, I'd imagine, maybe some acoustic stuff, maybe some sort of bluesy rock stuff, maybe a bit heavier. I'd love to do some instrumental stuff. There's so many things I want to do. So rather than try and make a really eclectic album where it's just every which way and doesn't really, every song is completely different. It's almost like you're listening to, the radio and you're just constantly changing the knob. I don't want to do that. I just want to bring out different EPs of different genres of music and really hone in on a different genre with each one. That's what I want to do. So that's my big plans for bands and everything in the future. That's going to be so much fun. So I can't wait to go through that.